It was raining the night I turned 35. Not the kind of rain that cleanses, the kind that erases. I sat at the dining table, staring at the untouched cake I'd bought myself. Cheap, uneven, the kind that collapses under its own frosting. The candles flickered weakly in the silence. 12 missed calls earlier in the day had all been mine. None returned. Then her message came in. "Oh, we got invited to a party. Totally forget it was your birthday. Having so much fun." My wife. The woman who once swore she loved how quiet and dependable I was. Now laughing somewhere loud with people who had names like Fun. Minutes later, my mother's text followed. "We'll celebrate later, dear. Your brother got us tickets to the city gala. You understand." Yes, I always understood. The family errand boy. The one who fixed the leaks, washed the cars, carried the shame they wouldn't touch. But that night, the rain fell differently. It didn't feel like forgiveness. It felt like permission. The silence of the next few days wasn't new. It had been my inheritance since childhood, served cold like leftover affection. I'd grown up being the family's convenience. My brother took credit for my work, my parents took comfort in my obedience, and my wife, she took what she needed until I had nothing left to give. But it wasn't until 3 weeks later that something shifted. She came home late, smelling of someone else's cologne, too sharp, too intentional. I asked where she'd been. "Work dinner," she said, her voice smooth, rehearsed. I nodded, the same way I always did. But this time, my mind didn't stop at nodding. It started recording. The lipstick shade on her shirt collar wasn't hers. The hotel receipt folded in her purse wasn't local. And the smile she wore when texting wasn't meant for me. The betrayal wasn't loud, it was precise. Like a surgeon's cut, clean, deep, and almost beautiful in its cruelty. That's when I stopped reacting and started planning. I didn't confront her. I learned from watching her, the art of quiet deceit. Every morning I kissed her cheek before work. Every night I sat beside her on the couch while she texted someone named Liam. She thought I didn't notice. She thought I never noticed. But I watched, I waited, and I collected. Phone records, bank statements, GPS logs she didn't know synced to my account. I even sent a polite message to the hotel she'd never been to. The manager replied with confirmation she'd checked in with a man under a different name. My brother's. I reread the email 5 times. The rain outside that night sounded like laughter. So that's why they'd skipped my birthday. That's why my wife had forgotten. Because she hadn't just replaced me, she'd joined them. My brother, the family's golden son. The one they said I should learn from. And her, my wife, my quiet companion in a life built on small humiliations. Together. I didn't cry, I didn't shout, I only stopped blinking for a long time. 3 weeks later, the DNA test came back. The child she'd claimed was premature, the one with my mother's blue eyes, wasn't mine. The report was simple, 1 page, unforgiving. That night, I waited at the dinner table again, the same chair, the same silence. When she came home, I handed her the envelope. No words, just the truth folded neatly inside. She looked confused, then afraid. "What's this?" she asked. I didn't answer. I just watched her open it, watched the color drain from her face as her world, my world, split down the middle. "Is this a joke?" she whispered. I shook my head. She tried to explain, to fill the silence with tears and half-truths, but I didn't move. I didn't blink. I'd already heard every version of her honesty. When she finally said, "It was a mistake," I smiled. Because mistakes don't check into hotels twice. Mistakes don't get pregnant. Mistakes don't laugh at birthdays they forgot. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the report. Only said, "He's your brother's son, isn't he?" Her silence confirmed it. She collapsed into the chair, sobbing into her hands, begging me not to tell anyone. But I already had. Earlier that morning, I'd mailed copies of everything, photos, receipts, DNA results, to my parents' house, express delivery, addressed to my father. For the first time, they would have to look at their golden boy's reflection, and they'd see me in it. The silence between us stretched thin, vibrating like a wire about to snap. "I'll leave," she whispered finally. "I'll disappear." I stood up, walked past her, opened the door. "You already did," I said, and then I left. It's been 3 years since that night. The house was sold. The family scattered. My brother vanished to another country. My parents stopped calling. They live now in the ruins of their own image. As for her, she sent one last message last year. "I'm sorry. I hope you're happy now." I didn't reply. Happiness was never the point. What I wanted was silence. Real silence. The kind that doesn't demand, doesn't accuse, doesn't pretend. Now, I wake before dawn, make my coffee, watch the world turn gray and soft before the sun burns through it. Sometimes I think about that birthday cake, melting, untouched. Sometimes I think about how easy it was to forgive everyone else but myself. But mostly, I think about the rain. Because that night, it stopped trying to wash me clean. It started to whisper instead. "You're free now." And for once, I believed it. Final line, they taught me to serve, I only learned how to disappear.